Right, so let's take a look at the second of our stock valuation methods. And in question 35, you are told that you must value the stock using the weighted average method. So you're asked in number 1 to calculate the value of the stock balance. Now if we go down over here, under the information, you've given your opening balance again, 275 units at 620. You're given your total purchases, which is made up of all the purchases for the month, the different unit prices, and the total value. Right, remember that under the weighted average, we discussed this just now when we looked at the first video. The weighted average is when we work out the average value per item. And I said to you in that video that it's the same as you did with calculating the weighted average number of shares. So you have got an opening balance of 170 plus you've purchased. So those two together there, which equals that there, that is the amount of money that was spent in order to get the opening units plus the total purchases to 2,035. So the first thing you're going to have to do is get an average price. Take the amount divided by the 2035. Now just as a word of warning, following what I said in the previous ones, that if there was a transport or a carriage, you would have to have added that on. But in this case there is nothing. It's the full total. There are some damaged cell phones that have been returned to the suppliers, and there were 50, and that came from August. So if we look back to August, that's 730. Now we don't have that 50, so we're going to have to minus it away. We're working out the average price of what we've got. And we've told that we've got 320 units left over. So I want to value this 320, getting an average price of the units that I had. So if you look in your answer, there's the opening stock plus the purchases, which was given to you, minus the 50 that were damaged and were written off at the 730. So there's the total amount that you have spent, the 1484 which was given to you, minus the stock that was damaged, because you don't have it. You had an opening balance of 275 in units. You bought another 1760 and you returned 50. So you've actually got stock of 1985. And if you divide this out, you'll get a value of 729. Now that 729 is an average price of your items of stock. You have got 320 units times the 729, and there's the value of your closing stock. So go back, remember what you did when you did the weighted average with the shares. So you get the total value divided by the number of units, and then you multiply it by the number of units in closing stock. This particular exercise, just going on, they did ask you to work out the gross profit. Now remember, gross profit is sales minus cost of sales. So you're going to have to calculate the cost of sales first, and then you can subtract that from your sales and get your gross profit. And I went over this calculation in the first exercise when I gave you an introduction to the stock valuations, and I also did it under the FIFO method. So again, learners, you need to practice, and very importantly, you need to understand the difference. In both methods, you are finding the stock value, and the calculation of that stock value is different. But thereafter, the calculation of the cost of sales, the gross profit, is exactly the same. So please practice some more exercises on weighted average.